Good morning, Lisa Stearns here, and we're at the Imagination Sisterhood studio. Today I am inspired by a post that I saw on Facebook. Someone had made a gorgeous picture out of, I guess it's quilting. I'm not really sure even what you would call it. They had taken a bunch of pieces of different jeans and sewn it into this amazing landscape. Looked like a million tiny houses overlooking the Mediterranean. It was really, really gorgeous. And so I posted it in my Facebook group, Imagination Sisterhood Studio, which I'd love for you to come over and join us. What kind of things have you done? Have you upcycled to turn into something else? And I wanted to post a picture of what I had done, but I couldn't find anything of my own because my stuff is all over. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do is turn a Trader Joe's chocolate bar box into a journal. I love chocolate, and so I thought it'd just be hilarious to have a journal out of a chocolate box. So I've got my box, I've got my paper, and the first thing you're going to do is deconstruct the box, which is just opening it up. You're going to cut off the ends where the fold is and open up where the glue is. I want to use this because it's on the wrong side. This would be the spine. So I want to make sure I use this. So I'm going to very carefully open this up. And this is what I'm left with. So now it's all opened up. I don't know if I will use these end pieces. Oh my God, very dark and smooth. I feel like I have to use these somehow. I may put two big tabs inside. That would be really fun. So may do that. Here's my other spine, so I cut that off. So that's that piece. I am going to leave this on because I think I want a fold out here. So I just took my bone folder and kind of reinforced that fold there so that I can make a page that folds in later. So that's the first step. So we'll set that aside. The next step is all of my papers. And I decided I'm going to make 10 pages. I've got 10 pieces of paper. It's a variety of papers. And I folded them about where I need them. And then the next thing, so I just measured this, like how big is it, got it close, and now I'm just going to trim it down so I can get it the size that I need to fit inside the book. And the book is going to be, let's do it this way. So here's my fold. So I definitely need it less than where my fold is. So my fold is here, so I probably want it like maybe 1/8 of an inch shorter than where my fold mark is. That's how I'm measuring. And all I'm doing is taking my ruler and sticking it on here. I am not being precious about this because I don't want this. I have a very hard time not overdoing everything. I love the detail, and so I get down in the weeds, and I can never do something simple. Everything is always way over the top too much. Let me move this over a little bit, line it up with my lines. That looks good. Where's my ruler? I have a sharp new razor put in there so that I know it's going to be sharp enough. And I'm just going to cut through all of these layers. And that way I know they will fit inside the binder. I feel like I'm cutting that crooked and I can't see because there's so much paper here. I don't feel like I'm getting this. I wasn't. So I was kind of veering off to the right there as I was cutting. I have a friend who has a book paper cutter. I keep wanting to take a bunch of paper over and have it cut for me so that I can do this without doing it with a exacto knife, because it sure is easier, better. Look what a mess I made of that. Good grief. Some of that paper is usable, some of it not usable. All right, let's get all that out of the way. And I have a couple more sheets here. Just wanted to throw in. Oh, shoot. I wish they were a little bit shorter because I got all that good rumply stuff on it. This one needs to turn this way. I'm going to miss all those good crumpled pieces there on the outside. You know what? I'm going to fold it so that it at least catches one edge of those. These are just two random pieces of dyed paper, and I didn't have enough of the matching beige paper. So I just grabbed these because I thought they'd make a nice addition, and I don't want to have to cut them. So let's stick them in here and line it up there. There we go. Okay, that looks like it's going to be good. That does not look straight at all. Let me do this one sheet at a time. I have a feeling this paper is ripped, so it's not straight to begin with. So let's see if it ends up straight. Yes, that's that piece. This piece is very obviously very crooked. There we go. And I'm not going to worry that I got a fold in there because this paper is already kind of rumply. I may even take a little ink on there just to kind of emphasize the fact that it's rumply. And then let's go ahead and trim those down. Okay, so we had a few little fixes to do, but we're back here. And now I am ready to cut the pages going cut off the bottom of the pages. And I realized that I did too many pages all at one time. I haven't done this before. So because I did so many pages at once, the edges are just not straight. They're really rumply. And I think I'm gonna do something else about that. So I'm not gonna worry about that right now. So I think I'm gonna take only about 4 sheets at a time. And I have to make sure I keep track of where these went because they're cut in a certain order. And if you don't, here, let me show you. So your inside papers are a different size than your outside papers. See that? So since I've already cut them to all be the right width, I have to make sure that I kind of keep them in the same order or they're going to be not right. All right, so let's take the first 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And fold these nice and tight, and then I'm going to measure where I want this cut. And I just wanted about, I don't know, 1/4, 1/8, whatever. Just a little bit less than the height of the book. So we'll cut this one first, and then we'll do all the other ones based on this one. If I had a nice paper cutting thing, then I could stick them all in there at once and it would chunk them all at once, which would be awesome. But I don't have that, so I have to do it this way, which can be a little messy because your exacto knife can kind of wiggle and wonkle a little bit, and then you get wiggly wonkly pages. Use those little pages for another book later. Okay, so that's my first. So we'll stick some more pages in here. And they all go in the middle because this was the outside. This is not something I do all the time, so this is perfect for me to do with you because I can make all the mistakes and we can learn together. Because I make lots of mistakes, but you don't never see them when you're showing a finished product. So a lot of this is just little bits of trial and error here and there, and things go wrong and whatever. Cut these off. I'll have all of these little pieces. I'll make a little tiny journal out of this later. Let's stick those aside. And these last couple, make sure they're down. And I'm sure this is not the way to do this because I'm sure I'm cutting off the pages that the top pages. I'm sure I'm trimming them a little bit without meaning to. But this is the only way I know how to do it. So that's what I'm doing. All right, and then I have 2 more. And let's see, are these going to go on the outside or the inside? Oh, they fit on the outside. All right, so let's cut them first, but then I think I'm going to alternate them because I don't want 2 crummy ones and then, or 2 dyed ones and then all the smooth, even ones. I want to mix it up a little bit.
sampling page, so they're not even that long. Okay, and where's the paper? Oh, it's right there. Uh-oh, cough coming on.
And I think we'll alternate those in here. Oh, heavens. And there we go. And somehow I've got little extra bits going on here. It's those faded pages that I just put in there. Let me try one more time. See if I can get this even. And I know that I'm not getting this perfectly even, and I don't want to be really, really fussy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm just going to scrape along here. And benefit of the metal ruler. And when I do that, it's going to make all of the edges look a little tattered. And that way it won't matter if they're all exactly the same. Plus, I love that little bit raggedy look. Okay. So now we have our pages. And I have some gorgeous, 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 whoops, chocolate paper. Let me go grab that. All right. Found my paper. So this is a amazing collection by Stamperia, and it's coffee and chocolate. So I want to put maybe a page or two of that in there. I know I want to put something in here. I'm not sure if I want to line this or not, but I know I want at least one. Oh my God, look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? I want at least one page. See, there's chocolate bars. I don't know if I want the chocolate bars or if I want something a little more interesting. Oh, geez, these papers are beautiful. I really think that I prefer something with some print to it. This says cocoa and chocolate, over it. Do I like that one or do I like this one better that says chocolate? I love this one. What does that look like inside? That's going to be the first thing you're going to see when you turn it open. No, I don't think I like this brown one. I like the print, but I don't think I like it on the inside of this book. And I like this page, but it doesn't go with the chocolate. Definitely don't like the chocolate page. Breakfast cocoa, that's kind of fun. I think we're choosing that one. I love this. But that's more coffee and less chocolate. But I love this inside of this. Isn't that lovely? Oh, it's gorgeous. But I think I'm going to use this one because it says breakfast cocoa. That's the first thing it says. So I think we're going to use that one. All right. So now I want to make sure that this is the right size. With this, it's going to be the same. And I don't want to use, I'd love to use a bunch of this cardstock, but cardstock is very difficult to sew through. So if you're going to use a stitched binding, which I'm going to use a stitched binding, you can't sew through a whole lot of cardstock. So I'm going to have to just make do with one piece and maybe add, I can glue other things in there. All right, now here's something I'm going to do. this is too long, and instead of cutting it off, I am going to fold it up. And so I want to fold it right about here, and that'll give me a pocket on the inside. I marked it, but the marks look like everything else. All right, let's do this a little better. There we go. All right. So I'm just gonna stick this on here, make a little mark so it folds a little easier, and get it straight. There we go. And where is my, let's use my this finger. No, wrong ruler. See, I thought this was going to be a 1, 2, 3 project, but my projects are never 1, 2, 3 projects. I am not the queen of the, I'm just marking this a little bit so that, I'm doing a really bad job of it, so that it'll turn up easier. There we go. And that's going to make a pocket on the inside without me doing anything. I'm going to trim that off so it folds up a little easier, because otherwise it causes a big lump in there. So we're just going to trim this off right down to that fold. I cut it all the way down to the fold. And now when I close it, it closes much easier. Alrighty, and then we need to trim this piece off. And then we are ready to stitch it together. And I'm hoping the stitching part is going to go really easily. Hope it's not going to give me any problems. I'm going to set down my exacto knife somewhere, which always happens. I'm always losing my stuff. Okay, there we go. Put it back, Lisa, then you can't lose it. Perfect. And that is going to go inside my book, and let's make sure it's somehow I folded it up. I folded it up the wrong height. Dag. I'm going to have to refold it because I don't want to take the top off. I don't know how I marked that and then got it wrong. That's hilarious. Let's try it one more time. Okay. Best laid plans and all that. Let's fold this up. Okay. That just cracks me up that I got that wrong after all that measuring and folding. Okay, and hopefully this fits in here. Yes, perfect. Okay. All right, so the next thing to do is to get a scrap of paper and measure the length of this, which is here. Cut that off. That gives me my measuring tool. And I'm measuring the width of my spine. So I'm just going from fold to fold. And fortunately, it's right along this line. This is my stitching template so that I make sure that my signature, which is this collection of papers, and my spine holes line up when I go to find it. And that's going to take a little piece of corrugated cardboard. And I need to fold this in half, which is not an easy thing to do. I've got too many things going on here. Fold this in half. It can be a little tricky when it's this narrow. Okay. Half and half again. So I fold it in half longwise, and fold it in half crosswise. And that is going to give me an intersecting point where the two folds meet is right there. So that's where my center hole is going to be. And then I'm going to go about an inch from the top and about an inch from the bottom. That does not look like they're even close to similar. Let's see. No, almost exactly the same. Move this one up just a little bit. And that's where my holes are going to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is stick my template on my spine. And I'm going to lay it down here, right within the two folds. See, it fits within the folds. And I usually, if I'm doing multiple signatures, I didn't do it this time because I'm only doing one signature, so there's no confusion. But generally, so I will do it this time anyway, I put top on the top, and that way I know which one is on the top. Because if you flip it around, then it doesn't work anymore. And then your holes are in the wrong place. And I use a piece of corrugated because it goes through. So it just makes my holes go, all go through, my pokey thing go through nice and easily. All right, so let's go ahead and make those holes. Nice and definite. I'm noticing I got a little overlap there, and I'm going to cut it very straight. Trim that off. And now we're going to take the signature, and we're going to fold this. Where's the top? See, it is a good thing I have the top. And I'm going to fold it this way. And that way it'll go in the spine, in the crease of my folds. So I line up all my pages. And you can even, if you have any clips, it's kind of nice to put a clip on here. And that'll kind of keep them from, they like to wander. They like to stray a little bit. So. And then I'm going to put my template down in my fold, just like this. And you will notice, hopefully we can show this here, it is a little longer than my signature because it is the height of my book. And so I just have to make sure that this little piece sticking out is the same distance top to bottom. And I think it's pretty good. Looks like all of my pages are not quite the same height, and they're shifting a little bit, so I'm going to move them down a little bit before I clip it. All right, so we've got this down in here, and I want to push it down into that fold, and then I'm just going to punch right in those same exact holes that I made from the last, making on my spine. And that way I know that all the holes are in the same place. And let's make sure they're all the way through. Okay, I had surgery on Thursday night, and I swear my nose has been running. I don't know what the deal was. That surgery had nothing to do with my sinuses, but my nose has been running ever since. Maybe it's just, it lines up with the spring coming. Okay. All right. And now we're all ready to sew that in, which is a 2-second job. Let me get my threads. And I think I'm going to use a nice wax thread on this. I don't usually. Ooh, they're so noisy. But I just feel like I want this, I think I'm going to use that one. I want this to have a little I don't know, I usually use embroidery floss and it works fine for me. Sometimes I wax it, but usually I just use embroidery floss, but for some reason this time I want something that's a little more, has a little more oomph to it, and I don't even know why, just how I'm feeling today, feeling oomphy today. All right, so we are ready to go. We are going to start with the center hole, going from the inside to the out, and then we're picking up this, going out through here, and pulling it through. I'm leaving it on the spool. If you want to cut it, you'd want about 3 times the length, and you're going in this hole and picking up this hole. And pull it through. There we go. And then we're going all the way down, picking up the bottom hole. And I need a little more thread, so I'm going to pull this, make it a little bit longer. And this hole can be tricky to get through the second time. So if it goes through this time, it's a total fluke. This one is always hard to do. I'm going to poke in the hole first. Oops. Poke in this hole first. And then look in here and pick up this, the book. And come on, see if it's going to go through. Yeah, that's more common than not, is it just does not go through this last time. And you got to play with it a little bit. You got to talk to it, sing to it. Come on, baby. Go through the hole. Nope. All right, so I'm going to go back in with my awl through this hole and see if I can get them. I think my pages are just not lined up. So I poked my awl back through. I think you can see it there. Let's get this in here and pull the needle through. Ah, I got this thread through the other thread, and I don't want to do that either. So sometimes your threads are going to get, and when you go back through, you're going to get sewn through each other, and that can be a problem. Let's see if yeah, I think I'm actually through it. I'm going to have to pull that out. Oh, this is a good lesson. All right, so when I put the needle through this hole, I actually put it through the existing center thread. So I'm going to pull this out because I know when I go to pull it tight, that's going to be a problem. It's not going to pull tight anymore because it's going to get all stuck in there. So I'm just going to pull it out and try it again and see if I can get that in there. All kinds of good lessons in what things can go wrong when you do this, because when I see people do this on videos, it goes zoop, 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 and it goes really easily, but a lot of times it does not go zoop, zoop. All right, so we've got that. I lined the hole up again, so let's just see if we can get this to line up again. I'm just going back in here where my hole is. All right, I'm going to leave that all back in there, and let's go in here and stick this in here and make sure I do not sew through. Yep, see, I'm through my other thread again. Let's go this way. There we go. All right, just don't want to sew through that existing thread, and this is lined up. Let's see if I can get this to go in here. Yay! So you got to struggle with me. That's a good thing. All right, so we've gone through. I'm going to cut this off now because I don't want it that long. And now we're just going to tighten this a little bit and make sure that it's tight both ways. And you can tell if it's tight by the, the outside. If this is not tight, then you've got to pull it a little more, because sometimes you'll have some extra thread underneath in between here. You'll have thread in here. And I saw this once, don't know how important oh, I did sew through that other thread. All right, I saw this once, don't know how important it is, but I always put my threads on either side of the center thread, and then I tie my knot. And that's just a right over left, and then a left over right, and that makes a square knot. So you want a square knot so it stays tight. If you don't use a square knot, your knot will come loose, and then your pages will become floppy. So just remember right over left, left over right, and that just means your hands. You put the right thread over the left thread, and then the left thread over the right thread. And I'm just going to leave that. And there we have our book. So I obviously am going to do a lot more to it, but that's the basic. We made a chocolate book. So I'll finish this up, and I'll host the next video on how we finish this up. And then you can make a chocolate bar journal yourself. Thanks for joining me. This is Lisa Stearns and the Imagination Sisterhood Studio.